Alright, so in this video I'll be presenting this climbing log that I've created in Notion. So this is actually an updated version. I have a previous version that is already available online for free. However, this version has some bonus features that are very interesting, including different stats that you can do on the grades that you're climbing. So to start, I'll just give you a general overview of what this template contains, and then in the next few sections, I'll give you a little bit more insight into what each specific section can do. So to start, this is the dashboard. So this is where you have access to all of the pages here on the left, and here you have some summary entries and databases on the right. So here on the right, the first thing that you see is the current training plan. So this is where you can log and see all of the recent sessions that you've done, but also what was your plan for those sessions. So here in this first tab, we have the sessions for this week. So you'll see the last sessions that you've completed, and we'll go into more detail about what each, what are the things that you can enter here. Here in the second tab, we have the plan. So here, from the week of October 10th to the week of November 13th, I had made this plan where I would on Monday do top rope and do a little bit of power endurance, on Wednesday do bouldering, and then on Friday do hangboard and a little bit of light endurance. So this is the second tab, and here in the third tab you can really get an overview of all of the sessions that you've done recently in the last month or two. Then in this bottom part here, which is really interesting, you have your projects database. So in a lot of gyms, you'll notice that it's hard to keep track of everything that you do. You might have a project that you're working on, projects go up, projects go down. So what's really interesting about this is that you can take a picture of your project, enter it in your project database here, and then when it's no longer there at the gym, once they take it down and reset it, you can just unclick here the current, and it will just store it in its memory, but at least you won't see it anymore. So you have current boulders, current routes, which I don't have here, and then here you can see all of the projects that you've entered in this project section. So I'll go into a little bit more detail again in a later section. But then the last part of this dashboard is these pages on the side. So you have here climbing plans, which I'll go into more detail later on. Stats, so this is another view you can have of your climbing sessions. So you can have a summary view, or you can have a stats view. And then here you have more specific trackers. So for example, if you want to keep track of the grades that you complete, of your hangboard sessions, campus sessions, or just general training. If you do weightlifting or any sort of general training on the side, you can keep track of that there. And then here in the resources, these pages are mostly empty, but for example, here in climbing exercises, you can add any interesting resources or any interesting training ideas that you see online when you're looking up ideas on how to train. Alright, so now that we've gone through the overall dashboard, I'll go a little bit more deeply into the session log. So there are two places where you can access the session log. There's here in the links on the left, or there's here directly in the dashboard. So what's fun about this template is that you can really log your workouts to the level that you want. If you want to just keep track of very superficial things, for example, how long you climbed, what exactly you did, was it top rope, was it bouldering, was it lead, and approximately what you did in your session, then this dashboard view is really all you need. So for example, let's say that we did a workout today, and let's say that we did a bouldering session in the morning. So let's say here morning bouldering and then session, and you can really name this whatever you want, but let's say that our session was an hour and a half, so I would here put 1.5. Let's say summary, I did quick pyramid warm up. So I did V0, V1 to let's say my climbing level is V6, so I did V0 to V5, and then I did a little bit of projecting. So I can write that like that, and then let's say I did do a little bit warm up before I started climbing. I can write that here, but I forgot to stretch, so I'm not going to check that. And that's as simple as it can be. Now, let's say that you want to track more specific things. So I know that people want to track how many climbs they did in total, what was that average climb, if they worked on specific projects. So if you want to go a little bit deeper, you can click on the open button here, and this is actually the default view you're going to see if you're entering this on your phone. And you see that we get a whole lot of other things that you can take note of. So for example, the location. Did you go outside to a specific crag, or did you go to a different gym, or was it your usual gym, or did you train at home, for example? Did you train specific techniques? So here you have a whole inventory of techniques that you can work on during your warm-up, for example, and you can keep track of that. Did you do specific workout or climbing exercises? So for example, limit bouldering, bouldering 4x4s. So you can enter that there. Did you work on specific projects? So for example, here I worked on this green holds climb with very slopey holds. So those are some of the information that you can enter here. And then here we have the four last entries. So the number of problems, the V-sum, the grade average, and the density. So to fill these out, 2 of these are calculated automatically depending on what you enter for your duration, your number of problems, and your V-sum. But you don't have to calculate that on your own. So every time you create a new entry, this part on the bottom will fill out. And let's say that you did, so here I'll just say, let's say this was my warm-up. I did a V0, and let's say that I on-sighted 2 of those. And here I can continue warm up, and I did V1, and I did, for example, 3 of those, and I can keep on going. So I recommend writing those down as you do them. But then what you can do at the end of your workout is look at here. It will automatically calculate the number of problems that you've done. So you can here write 5, and then here the V-sum turns out to be 5 again, but you can just enter it here. And so here it will calculate your grade average, which here was V0, V1, and then here your density. So, well, you did 5 problems in an hour and a half, so your density is going to be fairly low. But yeah, so that's if you want to go a little bit more detail. And let's say that you don't do climbing workout, or let's say that you do your climbing workout plus something else. Well, then here you have the opportunity to enter general exercises. So let's say that you did upper body workout. You can say here, for example, pull-ups. You did 10 in your first set, you did 9 in the second one, and 9 in the second one, and then keep going like that. So let's say you did also push-ups, and then same thing, you just enter here the number of reps you did for each set, and then you can also add notes. So for example, perceived difficulty, or whether you had to adjust because you were more tired that day or something like that. Same thing for hangboard. So hangboard, every hold that you do, you can write it here. So again, let's say that you start with jugs. Let's say you did it at body weight, so you would enter whatever your body weight is. Here, how many reps and sets you did, how long was the rep time, how was the rest interval, and then here you can write down the difficulty and any comments that you have. So you can do that for each type of hold that you do. And then same thing here for campus log. So let's say that you do a very basic ladder where you match, and then here you can specify you did, actually here you can just say like ladder, and then enter the rung size, the description of what you did, and then if ever you want to enter more details, there's always the possibility of adding more columns depending on what you want to record. So anyway, so for each workout that you do, these 4 tabs will be available here, or rather these 4 toggle menus will be available here. And this will automatically link the workout that you did with each of those logs. So if you go back to the dashboard here, we have under trackers different logs. So let's say that I go see my grade log, and I can see that here for October 15th, I did, for V1s, I have this warm-up entry V1, and then I did 3 on-sites, for example, here. So this is a great way if you want to look at what your progression looks like. Let's say that you're trying to try harder stuff. Well, you'll probably notice that you're going from projecting to things that are clean to more flashes and on-site. So this is a nice way to look at your progress, whether that's in bouldering, or here I have examples of grades for top rope or for lead as well. So this is the session log. So this is probably what you'll be using this climbing template the most for. So now let's go to the second section of this dashboard. So here I talked earlier about projects, and as I mentioned before, this is really cool because you can record projects that are inside, outside. Let's say that your gym doesn't use normal grades, so they have like circuit colors instead of grades. This is a really flexible way of recording all of the projects you're working on. So let's say that we go just to this projects view, but you can do this pretty much everything. You can do pretty much everything from the dashboard. So let's go to this all projects tabs first, because this is where you'll see a full list of all of the projects that you've entered into this database. So usually what I do is I will give this project a name, usually the color, sometimes the grade, and also what type of climb it is. So is it a slopey climb? Is it super overhung? Where is it specifically in my gym? I have a naming scheme for that. So I have wall 2, wall 1, wall 2, wall 3. So you can really name this whatever is easiest for you, but I highly recommend descriptive names so you know what the project refers to. And then here you have the grade of the project. Here there's best time in seconds or in minutes. This is mostly for people who do routes and want to record, for example, how long it took them to climb a certain route. Here you have the image. So this is something really cool that you can do with Notion. You can take a picture of your project with your phone and then use that image, and this is what will create the really nice gallery views here for your current projects. Here the first cent, so this you don't actually have to enter. As soon as you enter your project into your session log, so the section that I covered earlier, this will automatically be set to the first day that was entered, and then sent clean. So here you can write the date that you got it clean for the first time, and then here you can adjust what the status of that project is. So are you projecting it, or is it a red point project? Is it something that you've gotten clean? Is it something that you flashed, or something that you on-sited? So obviously if it's a project, it's unlikely that you're going to use the flasher on-site, but some people like to record difficult things that they've done, or something that they've been working on or preparing for, but that they haven't necessarily projected or red pointed. So you can still enter that here. And then here, this will record the number of sessions that you've worked on this. So again, this is based on your session log entries, so you don't have to enter any specific numbers here. This will automatically get filled in. And then again, these two views, so the current boulders and the current routes, these will only show the projects that are currently available. I say in quotes. And this will depend on which projects here are checked. So for example, let's say that these two projects are currently up in your gym. Well, they will both be checked. And then let's say that they reset this project with pink holds, then you can uncheck this, and then you'll only have one boulder instead of two. So the last thing that's unique and interesting about this template is this option to plan multiple seasons ahead. So if we go on the links here on the left side and we click on long-term plan, you'll notice that we have here this database that is called Climbing IDP for Individual Development Plan. And here I have some goal categories that people might have. These are categories that I can name off the top of my head, so you can definitely add categories that are important to you. But here each project or category is linked to a type of goal. And then what you can do is you can identify what your big goals are and then break that goal down into seasonal goals. And so here each column represents one season. So here I've divided it into trimesters. So here we have fall 2022, winter 2023, summer 2023, etc. And you can again divide this whichever way you want. I've divided it like this because it's more useful for me, and it follows like the school semesters as well. But what you can do is you can decide what goals you want to work on, and then here enter for each season what your goal for that category is. And then what's interesting in that is you can click on this current season, and what it will do is that it will filter out the lines that don't have any goals for that season. So this is currently filtering for goals written in for winter 2023. But let's say that we wanted to set it for this fall, then we would click on filter here, delete this filter, and just add the filter for 2022 is not empty. And then here we would see all of the categories that have something filled for that season. I'm just going to unhide fall 2022 so that we can see it here. And this you'll have to do at each start of the season when you're determining what your goals are, but you can hide and show columns depending on what the season is, and change the filter as well so that you only see the season that is relevant to you at that moment. And so you can look at these goals and then base what is your climbing season plan based on that. So this is only an example. I don't recommend you following this plan at all. But here I've divided my fall semester into 3 sections. One that goes from the start of September to the start of October, one from the start of October to approximately mid-November, and then mid-November to mid-December. And so I've decided for each section what are the things that I want to work on or increase, what are the things that I want to maintain, and then what is a typical schedule that I would have for that section. So some people don't have regular days. It might be more day 1, day 2, day 3. So this is just really a guideline. If you know that you'll do 4 sessions per week, but you don't exactly follow that, that's completely okay too. But for example, here I said, okay, for Mondays or my first day of training, I'll do routes and more like volume climbing. For my second day here, which would normally be on Wednesday, I want to do a campus section and some bouldering, and then on Friday I want to do some fingerboard and some top rope. And so here you can really decide what you want to do. You'll notice that the dashboard will filter out which section you're currently in. So if we return to the dashboard here and we click on plan, we're currently October 15th, so between October 10th and November 13th. So I'm in the second section of the fall season plan. And so this is what I see for that section. And if I want, I can also enter, or I can also write here in this bottom part what would be my plan for each of those sessions. So if I show you an example with the fall, the first section, this is what I had planned for each of those workouts. So for my fingerboard session, this is what I would do. For the campus session, this is what I do. And then for limit bouldering. Again, these are just example workouts. Please consult a professional or do what you're used to. But yeah, this is a useful way of recording what your long-term plan is. And then the last little thing is here are the resources. So I haven't gone, these are mostly empty, as I've said before. The only one that is actually somewhat organized is this climbing exercises database. So I have 2 examples here. So these are 2 very known examples of types of workouts that you can do, but I know that Lattice Training has a lot of Instagram posts with different types of workouts that you can do, so you can definitely add these in and then give them a category and use that to build your workout plans if you're looking for variety or new ways of training. And then here for hangboard workouts, campus workouts, and general conditioning, these are empty, but you can record workout ideas here as well. So that's it for me for today. As I've said before, a previous version of this climbing log is already available online for free. It is, I'll put the link in the description box below. This new version, which includes features that allow you to calculate stats, will be available on my Gumroad account for a small amount. I highly encourage you to go check those out and leave any comments, or feel free to give any feedback on how I can make these better. Thank you guys.